my channel. My name is Jenny. I have been living in Singapore for more than 10 years. So today I'm going to do an updated version of how much does it really cost to live in Singapore with your family. Let's go. Let's talk about housing. This is probably one of the common questions a lot of families need to know before you're moving down to Singapore. In Singapore, you have two options: private condominiums, meaning private estates with pool facility, gyms, parking space. HDB. HDB is also called the public housing, which is state without any sort of facilities such as pool, gym, securities. Which option should you consider? Okay, before we dive into that, because inflation is definitely played a huge impact in people's life, the rental you're going to pay right now expecting to be a lot higher than before. So just kind of giving you a little bit of perspective. 1,000 square feet, meaning like 3-bedroom plus 1 study outside the city, meaning you're about 40 minutes in the city. Before COVID, can range probably anywhere about 3 to 3,000 or 3.2K per month. So this is pre-COVID, and we'll talk about condominium. And after COVID, because everything is absolutely crazy here, with the same type of apartment, you are probably expecting to pay about 4,000. My advice for you is, if you don't mind and you are very budget concerned, try to rent HDB first. I know there's a lot of reservations about renting the HDB rather than condominium because you don't have the facilities, you don't have the gym, you don't have the security. And then here's my 2 cents, or maybe 8 cents because of inflation, about why the HDB rental could be a better option for you. Okay, so in the HDB, you're definitely going to deal with a less rental. You're going to be less expensive than the private condominiums, probably about 30 to 40% less. So if you have a big family, space is important for you, so you might want to consider that. The only downfall is it does not have the facilities such as gym, pool, security. But Singapore is really safe. Nobody's gonna break into your house and stealing your stuff. So I don't think security is a really issue. I think the only things that people are concerned is solicitations, meaning anyone, because of public housing, that means anyone can knock on your doors, can sell you something, those typical door-to-door salesmen. But I don't think that's really an issue. You can just, nicely decline them and it will go away. Another thing is you do not have a gym and pool. Personally speaking, that wasn't really an issue for me. I did live in HDB before, about 1 year. I have a gym membership, so I don't think that's a bit of an issue. Besides, your condominium facility is going to be a lot smaller. It doesn't really have a full equipment anyway, so I don't think it really make much of a difference. It's my 8 cents right there for compared to the option. A little story here, and this is just to give you a little bit of perspective how crazy the rental market is. And so last year I needed to move out of my previous condominiums. I need to find another place. So actually we did find something that was in the same area I'm living in. It's just gonna be about $1,000 more, but I'm also getting more space from 900 to 1,200. So for the 900 space I was renting before, it cost me about 2,500 a month, and I am looking for something that is 1,200 square feet, ranging from 3,200 to 3,500. So I find a place that is near my estate. So before I went down, my real estate agent did prep me. She said, if you think this is gonna work, you better to put your offer right now. So I went viewing with a blank check, meaning like I have 100. If I'm okay with what it looks like, I'm gonna put a deposit. I'm gonna secure an apartment ASAP. Well, guess what? They don't even have to wait for my security viewing. There's 2 or 3 families also looking at the apartments. They say, okay, fine. I think for next 2 years, I'm comfortable with this, and we should go ahead. Even before I write a check, the landlord's agent came back to us, oh, there's no need for that. Somebody already taking it, and they're going to rent it for $3,500. By the way, it was listed for $3,200. So the guy is willing to pay $300 higher than the market price. He said the person is going to pay about $3,500, and they're going to go for it for the next 3 years, 2 years. Obviously, if I were the landlord, I would be happy to rent out to this couple. So yeah, that's why we didn't end up renting an apartment. But anyway, everything works out for me. I did end up finding another place to live that is kind of outside the city, about 1,000 square feet, a little bit over 1,000 square feet, 3-bedroom. It cost me about $3,500 a month. But I just checked recently a listing near my area. There's not many private condo available for rental, and even the HDB around my area is asking about the same price as condominium. So this is kind of giving you a little bit of idea how crazy the rental market is. Then you ask me, why is this rental market crazy? In Singapore, here's my 8 cents. So in Singapore, a lot of locals are waiting for their so-called BTOs. So they purchase some kind of a apartment or public housing that is not ready due to COVID. If you remember during the COVID, a lot of foreign workers were not able to work. Nobody was able to break grounds. So all these people are waiting for those projects. So they must either extend their rental period or they have to find some kind of alternative. So you have the locals going to the rental market. Usually, most of people who are in the rental market are foreigners, people like you and I, as the local are spilling into the rental market, supply demands. Now you have more people wanting to rent. Obviously, you drive up the rental prices. If you're going to the local expat chat group, you will see a lot of people are having exactly the same problems. Neither could not find the places they really want to live, or have the downsides, or going to the HDB, or going to alternative rental options such as co-living space. So here with the family, you really have to manage your expectations to really lower your expectations, because you're gonna pay a lot more for a lot less. About schools, so let's talk about education. Options do you have? Okay, I did have a video about the preschool or private childcare. You can click somewhere in here. If not, you can do listen on. Okay, so if you have preschool children, I have a daughter who is about 4 years old. You have about 2 options. Number one is public government MOE kindergartens. So these are usually reserved for locals. Depends on what kind of neighborhood you're in. There might be some kind of waiting list for you to get in, or you have another options, which is a private childcare. This could be your typical like Mancham, Maple Bear. Mancham is really popular and also very expensive too. So since I've been through that, so I'm going to share about my 2 cents or 8 cents about that. Okay, so for the private, because I'm paying as a foreigner, so for me, there's really not much of a difference. You see, for the public childcare, it's going to cost you about anywhere from $9,000 to $1,000, and for the private, it's going to start from $1,200 and above. So really not much of a difference in regarding what private or public. So now the things you need to consider is probably the locations and how far is it from your home, and if you have any sort of openings. For private childcare, I can assure you that you will not have a hard time to admit your child into private childcare, because they definitely want your business. But when it comes to public childcare, there's always a waiting list, because obviously it's reserved for the locals, and there's local kids is definitely more than the foreign kids, right? So my 2 cents is if you have the budget, go for the private childcare options or preschool options. They can range anywhere from 1,500 a month to about 2,000 plus or 2,800 if you're going with the international school system. So but if you're a little bit concerned on the budget, what you can do if you have the luxury to do this is to enroll them with a half day. Half day usually is a little bit over 1,000 or sometimes even less than 1,000. So but now it comes to another question, is who is going to take care of your kids the second half of the day? So so it depends on everybody's situation, is a little bit different. So yep, so that will be my suggestion. So as I've been editing this video, I find out this video become a bit too long, so I'm gonna put the second part of video into another video, so please subscribe and follow me for part 2.